14-year-old Eric and 15-year-old John Jr. disappeared on August 24, 1981. The boys were last seen on the McCormick family farm on Horseshoe Hill Road in Caledon, Ontario. That evening, sometime after 6 p.m., after eating dinner with his family in their home, Eric's father, Lloyd, watched his son ride his bike to the McCormick's farm down the road. That was the last time Lloyd saw his son. A few hours later, around 10:45 p.m., Joyce McCormick, John's mother, came knocking on the Lars folks' door, asking if they had seen her son. Lloyd and his wife, Beverly, weren't concerned when Eric didn't come home after dark. They assumed he was still at the McCormick's home, watching TV. That night, around 9 o'clock, John's sister, Kim, who was 13 at the time, said she noticed Eric's bike leaning against their house next to her brother's van. Since the van often leaked oil onto the driveway, which upset John Sr., Kim went to find her brother to tell him to move the van somewhere else. Kim would later tell investigators that no one was home when she returned from babysitting at 9 o'clock that night. However, Paul Lalland, the man whose family Kim was babysitting for, said he saw two boys on the farm that evening as he was bringing Kim home. As it got later and there was still no sign of the boys, the Larsfolk family went over to the farm to look for the two boys. John Sr. drove them to a gravel pit about 1 kilometer from their house. There, the field car that the boys were seen driving around 6 p.m. was abandoned. Around midnight, officers showed up to begin a search. There we were in the dark. It was absolute black. All we could see were huge piles of gravel and machines all over the place, Lloyd said. The search was soon called off since it was too difficult to see. In the morning, they would regroup and start again. Every area of the McCormick property was searched. Footprints that belonged to the boys from the previous day were found. But nothing brought him any closer to finding Eric or John. Lloyd, who is in his 90s now, has always had hope that his son is alive, although he knows the chances of him seeing Eric again are slim. He has never stopped searching. However, every year, he returns to Caledon to look for his son. His wife, Beverly, died in 2000 from breast cancer. On the other hand, the McCormick family packed up John's room 1 week after he disappeared. It's unknown if John Sr. even participated in the search for the boys back in 1981. The McCormicks, in Lloyd's opinion, did not want to cooperate with authorities or help search for the missing boys. A few days after Eric and John went missing, John Sr. said it was likely they ran away. One theory at the time was that the boys left to go to an exhibition in Toronto and would come home in a few days. However, as the weeks and months went by, it became clear that this wasn't going to happen. Through the years, Lloyd would trespass on private property and even once broke into someone's home to look for Eric. I eventually got in and just yelled Eric's name. I woke the person up and he came out with a gun. I didn't care at the time. I just wanted to find my son. It wasn't the best decision of my life. But what else could a father do? Lloyd said. The list of suspects was very short, but included John Sr. and a friend of his named George McCullough. McCullough worked on the farm in 1981 when the boys disappeared. John's sister, Kim, said that she, her brother, and her mom never liked him. An investigator went out to the properties that McCullough rented at the time on Hockley Road in Dufferin County, but current investigators cannot confirm which property was searched, or if both were. Lloyd has always wondered if Eric and John Jr. would be on one of these properties. After decades of searching, Eric's father knows there is little left he can do to find his son after several failed searches. And no new evidence or leads. The two main suspects have died. George McCullough in 2000. And John Sr. in 1987. Lloyd says his oldest son, Dave, feels responsible for Eric's disappearance because he wasn't there to help his brother. Darlene McCormick, John Jr.'s aunt, says that things were never the same after the boys disappeared. Darlene has always hoped that she would see her nephew again. She and her husband kept the same phone number for decades so that John could call if he was hurt or in trouble. Since 1981, Darlene, who passed away in 2012, and Lloyd never gave up hope that they would see the boys again. The whereabouts of Eric Larsfolk and John McCormick Jr. remain unknown. And John Jr.